Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cartoon Boom. This is a show where we work with the Saturday morning sun, popped on the floor with big bowl of sugary cereal, and we'll try your favorite cartoons, both old and new. I'm Joseph.
And I got big muscles and I can tie my shoes. My name's Chris.
And do you also put your bandana on even after your bandana is already on in your montage?
Yes.
Okay.
I double tie my bandanas over my bandanas for extra sweaty protection.
I've got bandanas over bandanas.
Yeah. Extra sweat protection. Keeps the sweat out of my sweat.
This is my play bandana. This is my work bandana. Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Great.
And this morning, we watched Rambo, The Force of Freedom.
This was suggested to us by Mark via YouTube. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. So Rambo, The Force of Freedom aired in 1986 based on the novel First Blood by David Morrell, and then obviously the Rambo movies that came in, the First Blood came in 82, and then Rambo First Blood Part 2 came in 85. So it's based on the novel, then the movies, etc., etc. Written by head writer and story editor Michael Chain, and then assistant story editor Jack Bornoff. Produced by Ruby Spears Enterprises and Carol Co. Pictures. This ran for one season, 65 episodes in syndication initially.
I love when like production studios are like, hey, you know that like super hard rated R movie for adults? Can we make this for children? How do we make this for kids?
About a Vietnam War veteran who's got PTSD and basically dedicates his life to revenge.
And murders everyone in his path.
Yeah. Doesn't that sound like it'd make a great cartoon?
Hey, can we make that for kids? Yeah, I love that idea.
They can try. They could try.
Yeah, they certainly did try.
For a short synopsis, on Colonel Trotman's request, John Rambo leads a special unit called the Force of Freedom against General Warhawk's paramilitary terrorist organization, Savage, which is Specialist Administrators of Vengeance, Anarchy, and Global Extortion all over the globe. Could you imagine, like, if acronyms weren't a thing and they just had to say that every single time they referred to the organization? Oh, no, It's the Special Administrators of Vengeance, Anarchy, and Global Extortion. No, not the Special Administrators of Vengeance, Anarchy, and Global Extortion.
I wonder why, like, I don't know, like, the idea that, like, every acronym needs to spell out another word. Like, it couldn't just be like, oh, they're the head of, like, the evil SWS organization. But no, it's like, they never try to keep what they do under wraps. They're always like, oh, we're Savage, or we're Cobra, or, I don't know, we're evil. It's, you know, they never fly under the radar.
No, yeah, it's not like it's their acronym is peace, but it's actually like paramilitary something. Is what, like, the words are where it's hidden. No, it's not hidden at all. The acronym spells out that. That's just like your name being bad guy. I am villain. I am Mr. Villain.
Yeah. There's like, I don't know, there's a little bit of a I've got a little bit of a fondness just for the ridiculousness of that kind of thinking in shows, but yeah, it's also just stupid.
I am with you there. I completely embrace going full camp with that kind of thing, but they didn't. And that is, I think, where this show faltered a lot, is that it stayed so serious, even though they had some potential to add really interesting or make it more than it was, you know what I mean? Like, they tried to make it such a serious little show when it didn't need to be. It's a cartoon. It's supposed to be for kids.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, sorry. So, who are some of the actors who played in this show?
Glad you asked. This actually, the cast is pretty awesome to be, just to be said. You're gonna recognize a lot of names from 70s, 80s, 90s animation. So let's go ahead and jump into it. We've got John Rambo, voiced by Neil Ross, who's been in all the big stuff from the 80s and 90s, like the original Spider-Man cartoons, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Gem, Voltron, Centurions, tons more. If you saw it in the 80s, I'm sure you heard Neil Ross's voice. The voice of Turbo was provided by James Avery, known to a lot of people as Uncle Phil from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but to dorks like me and Joseph, he was the original voice of the Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He was also the voice of War Machine in Iron Man, the animated series from 1994, and Gorilla from Captain Simeon and the Space Monkeys, which was one that we covered on this show a couple years ago. That I know at one time they were trying to make a revival of it, and I don't know that panned out, but they reached out to us at one point about
I
that.
remember we really appreciated that show, and they specifically
Yeah.
said that they're glad that we got it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I hope it does get a revival because it was fantastic.
Same.
The character of Kat was voiced by Mona Marshall, another of the 80s crew. She was in Transformers, Smurfs, Fraggle Rock, Rainbow Bright, but also in tons and tons of anime. Really big known anime things like Naruto, Blue Exorcist, things like that. But also really widely known for the voice of Kyle's mom in South Park.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Colonel Troutman, which I'm sorry, I'm never going to not laugh with the name Troutman because I just think of a fish person.
Is it Troutman or Trotman? I didn't even hear them say it.
To me, it sounded like Troutman.
Probably.
Yeah, and that's how it looks too. Colonel Troutman, voiced by Alan Oppenheimer, who's pretty much been in back in the day, anything Hanna-Barbera related, especially Scooby-Doo specials. In the original He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, he was the voice of Skeletor, Man-at-Arms, Cringer. His voice has been featured in the majority of other 80s and 90s cartoons that we've probably ever mentioned while doing this podcast. We've got our villain, General Warhawk, a little on the nose there, voiced by Michael Ansara, who not known for doing a whole lot of voiceover work with animation and stuff, but does have a very distinct role that I know had an impact on Joseph and I as kids, which was he did the voice of Mr. Freeze in Batman the Animated Series.
Whoa, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, he reprised that role a few times. I know he voiced the same character in Batman Beyond. I think in a movie as well, and then I believe in a video game from 2001, like Batman Vengeance or something like that. A real old one. Sergeant Havoc, voiced by Peter Cullen. He's done tons of stuff. There's two voice roles you'll easily always associate with this man, and that is Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots, and Eeyore, the real depressed donkey. Both vastly different characters, very similar voices in some way. But yeah, love this guy's voice. Always love to hear it. So very happy when he showed up in this. Could definitely tell it was him right away. The character of Gripper, voiced by Lenny Weinrib, who has also done lots of Hanna-Barbera stuff. Lots of credits to his name involving various Scooby-Doo and Flintstones projects. Some early Batman cartoons, voicing Commissioner Gordon in a 1970s Batman animated series. He was the voices of Hunk and Prince Lotor in Voltron when it came over to the States for the first English dub. He also played Captain Crook for McDonald Land, that really obscure thing that shows up every once in a while. It'll get mentioned on our show when McDonald's decided to make a television series with a whole bunch of random characters. Yeah, that was a thing. Finally, the narrator was Don LaFontaine, who is the ultimate narrator voice, usually for movie trailers and not actual shows, but he did do this one. This random cartoon series. I don't know why he did it or who convinced him. But when you think of that default trailer voice that says, "In a world," this is that guy. This is him. That's the In a World voice that did all of those movie trailers that you remember from back in the day. He's even in a movie called In a World where he plays himself, which is great. So just fantastic. But that's your voice cast.
Yeah, that is a huge cast. I'm sorry they got attached to this show.
I will mention too that Frank Welker does make an appearance too. He's just not one of the main characters, but lots of these characters were from the Transformers and 80s echelon. So of course Frank Welker is in here as well.
Of course.
But he was not one of the main characters, which is why I didn't dive too deep into it.
So for a few tasty marshmallows out of our big bowl of Rambo cereal, Rambo: The Force of Freedom was the first animated series to be adapted from a rated R film series.
Oh, wow. This started it.
Yeah. We've seen Toxic Crusaders, which is based off Toxic Avenger, and we've seen RoboCop, which was obviously based off the RoboCop movie series, very rated R.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the first one of that bunch.
That's crazy. So this set the stage. This was the first one where they were just like, we made a movie about a man that murders people with his bare hands. And we were like, kids need to see this. And then other people were like, wow, like we've got a movie where a bunch of dudes shoot a man's arms and legs off and we turn him into a cyborg where his choices are no longer his own. We should get kids to see that. So like, this is where it all started.
Right?
Love it.
Yep. And Sylvester Stallone was annoyed and embarrassed that the Rambo character was used as a cartoon character. Yeah. Understandable.
Yeah, I totally get it.
It also spawned a line of toys from Coleco, as with the majority of older series. The Rambo toy line lasted longer than the television series itself.
That makes sense.
So if you have a Rambo toy out there somewhere, it's probably based on this series.
That's pretty interesting.
There has been literature based on Rambo, The Force of Freedom, and book adaptations of select episodes from the series. A book and tape set adapting the original 5-part episode miniseries titled Rambo, The Rescue was published by Kid Stuff Records in 1987, and 4 volumes of coloring and activity books also based on the series were published by Modern Publishings in 1986. There were coloring books of Rambo.
That's insane.
That's troublesome. That's so weird.
A lot of red used in those coloring books is my guess.
No, because Rambo has a no-kill policy, and nobody can hit anyone with any bullets. Even when Rambo's holding almost completely still, the bullets just completely go around him.
Yeah, I do also like when Rambo, is running through the fray with a big freaking machine gun, but doesn't ever fire it or use it in any capacity. But he holds it. He just doesn't use it.
Yeah, or when people have him at gunpoint constantly, but then try to use the bayonet on the end of their guns instead, so they're basically just sword fighting.
Just to poke at them.
Yeah.
That's what those are used for.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Speaking of sword fighting, just a reminder to everyone to check out all the cool rewards available through becoming a member of the Nerd Sloth Treehouse. Through becoming a member of the Nerd Sloth Treehouse by adding a subscription over at patreon.com/nerdsloth, which helps us keep the network running. Big heartfelt welcome to our newest Twig level member, Anthony DeBrule, and thank you for your patronage. Twig level members like Anthony get to help us make decisions on what episodes we might watch when we review a cartoon, and also get access to monthly bonus episodes, as well as lots of other content. So make sure you go and take a peek and take a look at everything that's offered if you have the means to do so. Like this episode today, we had our Twig level members help us pick out an episode of this cartoon to watch, and we did it. And there might be regrets, I don't know, but it happened. So patreon.com/nerdsloth and check out what we have to offer.
Let's go ahead and jump into the episodes we watched for today's show. The first one being First Strike, Season 1, Episode 1, where General Warhawk and his cronies try to take over a peaceful, fictional South American country. Colonel Samuel Trotman sends John Rambo and mechanic Edward Turbo Hayes to stop Warhawk. Catherine Ann Taylor, or Cat, assists them. Yep.
Oh, I get it. So, not only is Cat the short version of Catherine, it's also her initials.
Yep. You know what?
My gosh.
That's the worst code name ever, because that's giving away your name twice. You're doxing yourself.
Yeah. That's awful. This is the best way I can describe this show is guns with no use and just rippling muscles. Just muscles everywhere. It's
rippling Rambo muscles.
Yeah, I love the amount of flex that goes on and how zoomed in, you just look at this dude's biceps for 30 seconds while he ties his boots, and you see that same shot multiple times every episode.
Yeah, the quality is different from the rest of the show, so it's noticeable when this montage pops up, his preparation montage, where he tightens his bandana, ties his shoes, puts his knife and gun in their holsters or whatever.
And grabs his bow and arrow.
Right. Sometimes it's slightly different depending on the scene they're in. Like there's snow in some, so they do like a few different takes of it, but it's basically always the same thing. No matter what he's already wearing, he will put that bandana, even if he's already wearing it on, which is what we were talking about earlier. Like this is his layered bandana.
Yeah, he might already be wearing a bandana in the scene right before this, but then it switches to him putting a bandana on, and it's like, oh, all right. I guess maybe it was the wrong bandana. I don't know. So that happens.
I guess in this world, the army just isn't able to act or is useless or something.
I'm like, what's weird about it too? This doesn't take place in the United States. It takes place in a country in South America. But it's like the United States army goes and gets Rambo, and they're like, your country needs you, but we're sending you to a different country. So go over there. I don't understand it at all.
Yeah, I don't know if we're allies with this like fictional country or what, but we go help them. Well, not we. Rambo goes to help them. I don't know if it's like a thing where it's like, oh, we can't officially help them, but Rambo can. We'll just send one dude in against this army because he's a one-man army.
Yeah, I think that was sort of the gist, because at one point they said, like, if you get caught, we have to disavow you.
Yeah.
But I just don't know why we would be involved in the first place.
Rambo is sort of the Batman to General Troutman's Commissioner Gordon.
One thing I did want to touch on real quick is the name of this country, which is like, obviously has some kind of like, like Spanish influence, right? To the name, to the peoples and stuff like that. But how all of the white characters pronounce it is Tierra Libre. And that was cracking me up every time. Oh, man.
Yeah. So what Tierra Libre stands for is free land, basically. It's called free land.
Oh, free land. Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, then, what if General Warhawk was just confused then? Maybe he just read that and he was like, oh, free land. Yeah, I'll take you up on that offer.
Right. He misunderstood.
He misunderstood the whole time. Like, he wasn't trying to cause any trouble. Libre!
Oh.
Yeah, so Rambo's idea of, I guess this is what also is strange to me, too, is like, they're like, we got to get Rambo in there to help this one country. What about the country General Warhawk is already obviously like infiltrated, because he's taking a bridge from that country to get into Tierra Libre, and Rambo's thought process is, well, to stop General Warhawk, I'll just blow up this bridge and he'll never get in. So he goes to blow up the bridge.
What if that's the citizens of Tierra Libre's only way off this island is by bridge, and he's just like, my first thought is destroy property.
Yeah. But I'm just like, do we just give zero, craps about the other country General Warhawk is already in? Like, they're like, Rambo, we don't care about that one, but get us that free land.
It's just making it topical, I guess. It's like, if they're not part of our alliance, then we really don't do a lot for them.
Yeah, I guess.
And don't care, yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. I guess, though, that they were just kind of like, you're going to need some help. So go get your right-hand man, Turbo, who was in the middle of like the Indy 500 racing a car.
Yeah. You can't leave now. You're in first place. He just walks off.
Yeah. Rambo shows up at this dude's like, he's in first place. He pulls over to get his tires changed or whatever they do when those guys pull over. And Rambo's like, hey, we got a job. And Turbo's just like, all right, gets out and they leave.
You the man, Rambo.
Yeah, they meet Kat, who they're just like, this is going to be your guide. She's great at disguises, which we do get to see her use it like towards the beginning of the episode, but we never see her use her skills ever again. So
at least not in the episodes we watched. Yeah.
No. And like, we wouldn't really know Turbo has any skills either, except for at one point he's working on a car, and that's as much as he's ever used again in this. And it's just in this episode. I'm like, and it's only the one scene. I'm like, why did they even bother? Like, why did he bother going out and collecting like Turbo? Why did they give him Kat if Kat was supposed to be his guide, but Kat didn't even guide him anywhere? Like, they didn't do anything. They just watched. Well, he did all the work.
Yeah, they are very much side characters in every sense of the word. This is not a team. This is Rambo and allies.
Yeah, Rambo and the Freedom Friends.
It's Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs.
Yes.
But whispered even quieter.
Saber Rider
and the Star Sheriffs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So they meet the president of Tierra Libre. He's like, hey, we can't stop him. We don't have weapons or tanks. They're like, that's fine. We got Rambo. And he's like, yep, I guess that's fine. Alone. But then when Rambo goes in and tries to destroy that bridge, he almost is defeated by this bridge twice. He almost falls off the bridge just trying to. No one's even shot at him or anything yet. He just slips and almost falls to his death.
Man, I don't know about you. Have you ever been on an icy bridge? Those things are dangerous.
I've not tried myself to climb a bridge and plant C4 on it. No, but I can't say that I wouldn't fall. So maybe it's tougher than it looks.
Yeah, I don't know. He does have a lot of trouble with that bridge, though. You're right.
The funniest character to me in this whole show is Ripper.
Gripper?
Oh, Gripper.
It's Gripper. Like, because he's got like one of those little like plastic things that you use.
The grabby claws.
Yeah, the things that you use to pick stuff up when you can't bend over anymore. He's got one of those for an arm.
Right. What's so funny is he is the only one out of that entire army who has any sort of like visible damage. He's missing a hand. He's missing one of his eyes. So, and when we're seeing him perform, we can easily tell why, because without even trying, like he takes himself out trying to get to Rambo. In various scenes, Rambo takes no action and Gripper just falls over or nearly falls to his death off of a plane. And it's like, okay, I see why you're injured because you're just clumsy. And that persists throughout the series. It's not just one episode. That's just the way that it is for him. So he has clearly caused these injuries himself.
My favorite one is in the last episode we watch, where he falls out of the helicopter or the plane. He falls off a plane.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that when we get there.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, so good. But I also like Havoc, who's like can't decide like what accent he's got. Like we're not sure. I don't know if he's Russian or German or what he's got going on. He kind of fluctuates back and forth. Because I really think they just told Peter Cullen, like, hey, sound some kind of like, I don't know, European, but make it like a menacing evil European sound. And so they just make him go for like anything that would have been in World War I or II.
Yeah. Hey, Peter, just do a threatening foreign accent. Oh, like from where? Yeah, exactly. That's it. Those are his directions.
Those. Yeah.
Yep, that one.
So he's just like, okay. And that is Havoc to a T. It's just he's just this big dude who always wears tank tops, which is more than what Rambo wears.
Yeah, he's tank top tiger.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. And this show also has more vehicles than I've ever seen in any medium in my entire life. It's kind of insane, like the amount of vehicles they use.
It may be the equivalent to, I mean, I don't remember if they had that many in G.I. Joe, but it could be around that because I know G.I. Joe was doing it to sell more toys, so they had to have a variety. Rambo, I guess, was also selling toys, so maybe that's why they had so many too.
Yeah. I remember G.I. Joe having a variety, but I think like in this, it's like per episode, you're going to see like one of every single kind of vehicle you can think of. Like you will see a tank, a Jeep, a helicopter, a motorcycle, maybe a snowmobile, all in the same episode. And it's like, oh my God. And each one will get blown up at some point. And he will, as one gets blown up, he lands on the other, which is just kind of how the flow of this show works.
Yeah, so Turbo builds him something called a Tank Buster, which is just a Jeep with a cannon on it, basically. That gets destroyed multiple times throughout the episodes. And after that, after he destroys the bridge, like the general makes a makeshift bridge on there because they just had a bridge available. And then So the idea is this is a no kill thing. Rambo has a no kill policy because it's a kids cartoon. And so the idea
Yeah.
is I'm just going to blow up this bridge so that he can't get across with his tanks. There you go. War over. Like that's it. And so the second bridge comes, he's like, oh crap. Like I didn't expect two bridges. So then he just destroys that bridge and it's over. Like
And this time it works.
it's the whole thing. Yeah, where General's like, I'll be back. I'll get you next time, Tierra Libre.
Tierra Libre.
Once I get my third bridge.
Once I find out how to make another bridge. Yeah.
Mark my words.
What I like about this so far is that essentially Rambo is just a professional pest because he doesn't kill and he like doesn't injure anyone really either. And we're going to see that a lot in this next one we're going to talk about. He doesn't even really injure anybody. He just really annoys everybody till they leave. And I like that.
Yeah, is the next one the one where he's in the mud and jumps out at the guy?
Yeah, I like what he just keeps dunking everybody in the river like you would do in a swimming pool.
It's in this one. So to take people out, he's waiting in the water for dudes to come get a drink. Who knows how long he's been down there? And he pulls them in the water. He is hiding in the mud. And as this dude passes, he doesn't take him out. He just pushes him down and runs off. And the dude's clearly still conscious and awake. He's like, what the heck? What just happened?
Yeah, it's just like when you and your friend get in a swimming pool and he jumps on you and like dunks you underwater and like you come right back up. You're just sputtering a little bit. But like in this world, that makes you like, drop whatever you're doing and you swim for it and run away. Cause that's like the most menacing thing that can happen to you, I guess, in a war is getting dunked.
I don't even think he disarmed the dude. He just pushed him over and ran.
Yeah.
And that was it.
It's like, oh, dang, Rambo got me wet. We've lost.
Oh, man. It's like they're playing tag. They're playing tag, basically. Rambo won.
This is like the most innocent type of war you'll ever see.
Yeah. I think thumb wars have been more vicious than this one.
This is just a bunch of horseplay.
Yeah. So the second episode we watched for today's show was Subterranean Holdup, season 1, episode 6, which was the highest rated, where General Warhawk is in Chicago to rob a money shipment to the Federal Reserve Bank. Rambo, suspicious that the backup troops are late, learns that those troops have been replaced by Warhawk's men.
Yeah.
He's right.
That happens. This has... God. Just every episode of this, I just want to give it some credit where credit's due. Every episode of the show that we see gets more ridiculous than the last one, and this is this is absolutely ridiculous. If you've ever wanted to see a helicopter chase through train tunnels underground, this is your show because it makes no sense, but it happens. Oh man.
The idea is that the general wants to steal the $100 printing plate from the Federal Reserve so that he can print his own money and make billions of dollars. That's it. And he succeeds to a degree. He steals it because he distracts Rambo with some cockamamie plan by basically the what I spoke of in the description where the backup troops were replaced by Warhawk's men. That was a distraction while Warhawk was in the bank stealing the actual plates. He gets them and starts to flee, but that's when that helicopter chase starts because he's hiding down in the sewers, like you said. So the helicopters that are also somehow down there, they have to fly them out, and Rambo chases him with another helicopter.
Yeah, there's a very long chase of, and we're going real fast through it, but honestly, there's no real reason to get super detailed with some of this stuff because there's no real storytelling to be had. It's really just a series of action sequences. And yeah, there's a big old helicopter chase that takes place in the tunnels. And God, I got to tell you, there is this one scene. So we set the preface already that General Havoc, Peter Cullen's character, with the maybe German, maybe Russian, we're not sure, just menacing some sort of European-ish accent. So deep, gruff sounding dude. He and Warhawk, they're in this helicopter going through these tunnels, and then this train starts coming at him. And he goes from this deep voice, and you can tell that like they didn't record him screaming, so they just took a scream from some other character. Because all of a sudden it's like, ah! And his the animation's great too, because his mouth is wide open, and he's just looking around like crazy, like his eyes are all big and his mouth's open, and his head is just going back and forth like he's possessed as this train's coming for him. And General Warhawk's like, it's fine, we've got enough room. But just like how horribly done that scene was had me laughing so hard. It was fantastic in the worst way possible.
Like, Peter, we need like a high-pitched scream. He's like, I refuse. And so they just had someone else do it.
Yeah, I think they literally took maybe a scream from like maybe a child on the set and used that because it did not fit whatsoever. Oh man. Rambo's helicopter gets taken out when they shoot a fire hydrant because water is the polar opposite of helicopter.
Right. The helicopter's main weakness is water. We all know this. What happens is like, like that starts to take a helicopter down, and he almost like dives it into the lake, but then he recovers. But then he just on his own hits a tree with the blades of the helicopter and ends up going in the water anyway. So it's like, what was the point of his recovery? Just to extend that scene a little bit more. He
then runs into this bar where he had gone into this bar earlier in the episode, met a bunch of biker dudes that are all dressed like they're about to, I don't know, be a part of, I don't know, like a burlesque show for biker men. And there's one guy that does not want to mess with Rambo because he already did, and it did not turn out well. It was just like, hey, you can use my bike, and gives him the keys. And just, I gotta say, this part was just fun because, dude, he is ramping that bike off of everything. He is ramping off of cars, off of trucks. He ramps off a parking ramp. It's great. But then he crashes and lands into a barge.
Right. After he tells the guy he's going to bring it back to him. No self-respecting biker is going to let some random dude borrow his bike that he may never see again. But whatever. Like, because this guy was supposedly so tough that he wanted to join and help out Savage, the terrorist organization. Like, that's how tough he was at the beginning of the episode until he saw Rambo, and Rambo beat him up. He's like, all right, I'm, have my bike, whatever, just take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Real pushover.
I guess I don't know as much. I mean, I'm not an asbestos expert, but Warhawk's plan for this plate was very confounding to me. The plan to smuggle the printing plate out of there was to go to a steel mill where they went, wrap the plate in asbestos, and drop it into molten steel, and then cool it into a steel bar, and then set it among other steel bars in a shipping crate so that it could be exported out of the country without anyone being the wiser. And I'm like, God, that is so much effort and so many steps. When you've got like these helicopters and crap, you probably could just fly it away. What? Are you planning to go through customs, or what you trying to do this the legal way now?
It doesn't seem like he's had any issue traveling or doing anything previously. So why now would that be? If they already know he's stolen the plate, why would they just let him through? It's like,
right.
Yeah, it's way more complicated than it seems like it needs to be. And I'm no asbestos scientist either, so I don't know that would actually work, but it seems so complicated that it's almost like they complicated it to the point where you just assume it's going to work. It's like, yeah, I guess asbestos does that. And that they end up doing it. I mean, they're at the steel mill, and that's when Rambo he gets there. He starts walking so slowly, like tightrope walking across this steel beam while they're firing at him. Nobody can hit him. He is basically almost holding still, and they're just stormtroopering the crap out of him, not touching him with a single bullet. He takes his sweet time, gets across, and
there's a scene in here that made me laugh really hard too. Like, this episode, I was just full of the giggles because There's so many parts that were supposed to be so serious, but they were so bad that I was laughing hysterically. And it was this, I'm just like, I love when, like, because they always want the bad guys to get away because they use the same bad guys every time. He doesn't have a rogues gallery, right? It's always Warhawk and Warhawk's cronies. So Warhawk has to be able to get away every time. So basically, how they do that is like Rambo is not stealthy. They always see him coming. So like there's this one scene where they're like across the warehouse from him about to get on this ship. And then you just see Rambo running across the warehouse, but he's running like particularly slow. Like you see him from like a mile away and they're just like, oh, there he is again. And it's just kind of like, oh, it's him again. Let's just go. They just get on the ship and they're able to like, get out to sea a little bit as he's like on the way. And it just cracks me up because it reminds me of like, if anybody's ever seen like Monty Python and the Holy Grail, that scene of those guards standing at the castle and you see the dude, like they're just watching that guy out in the distance, like running towards them. And it keeps cutting back to them, like watching him. And he's just like forever running towards the castle. And it takes him forever to get there. That's what it reminds me of, is like every time they see Rambo coming, it's like that scene. And then when Rambo shows up, he's there. It's just there all of a sudden.
When he first gets to the factory and he starts to enter it, like they throw the two guards at the window he's entering through, throw a grenade at him and he knocks it away and it blows up their Jeeps below. And they still have guns. They still completely have him at a disadvantage. But there's like, oh yeah, it's Rambo. Let's get out of here. And they run off. It's like, you've got guns. He's got nothing. He knocked your grenade away. That doesn't mean he can knock your bullets away. Do something. But they run off.
Yeah, I love it too because like a lot of times too, like Rambo shows no effort to do anything. Like in that case, he just barely slaps the grenade out of the way.
Yeah, almost accidentally.
Yeah, it's like no more than like casually brushing a fly away from your dinner outside. And they're just like, oh my God,
he's not human.
It reminds me of those memes that you see of like people doing like, I don't know, like really, really bad karate. And like someone will try to do like a little kick and they can barely get their leg up. And then it cuts to that scene from the Bourne movies where the guy's just like, oh my God, it's Jason Bourne. It's like kind of like those moments where Rambo barely did anything and they're just like, oh God, no.
And a lot of times there's this one like still that they cut to where Rambo's face is perfectly still. His no expression and it almost just looks like he's falling asleep. And it's all, I don't know if that's supposed to be his intimidating face or what, but it's the same shot they keep cutting to where it's just him staring and they're just like, oh God, it's Rambo. And everyone has to flee. Like I know that they had to make a lot of acceptances to make him be completely at an advantage when he's clearly not, since he has a no-kill policy and rarely even has weapons on him. So they just make him such an intimidating force. He doesn't need anything. He just needs to be there, and that's weapon enough.
I would love to, like, I've thought about this before, because, every once in a while you see where somebody has, like, redubbed over a cartoon just for laughs to make it even more funnier. I would love to do that with this show.
Oh, we should. That'd be so fun.
I would love, like, every time Rambo shows up, I just want to do, like, a voice like Sylvester Stallone where it's like, oh, God, it's Rambo. And he's just, hey, how's it going? And just something like, like he's not intimidating at all, but everyone's just freaking out around him because he never does anything.
Here, there's a party going on.
Hey.
Oh, no.
One thing he does do, though, is because the boat starts going away, he like starts operating a crane that like slams a steel beam through the ship and the ship starts to sink. So they're just like, fine, leave the plate. And they get in the helicopter, fly away because there's always a helicopter. Like there's always a getaway copter.
Right. Yeah.
But this is the thing that was weird to me is there's that crate that's supposed to be completely full of steel bars and Rambo just picks it up on his shoulders. I'm like, what the hell?
You can see him struggling a little bit, but the amount that would have crushed him under its own weight. Like he was struggling as much as if I pick up like a monitor on my shoulder or something. And yet
Yeah.
this thing is probably over a ton with how many steel bars were in there. And he effortlessly carries it away.
Thousands of pounds. Yet in this next episode, he has trouble with a tree log,
Oh, yeah.
even though he just lifted like the weight of an elephant off of him over his shoulder in this one.
He's got a
So
he's got a weakness to wood. So the last episode we watched from today's show was when Savage Stole Santa, season 1, episode 45. This is a Patreon pick by Semantic, so thank you for this pick because it was probably the only I guess the most creative episode they had of Rambo, if you want to
yeah.
even call it that. During Christmas in Colorado, Rambo and Turbo rescue a kid when visiting Rambo's old friend, Chris Kaufman, who is a former rocket scientist turned toy maker for an orphanage that goes around his village on Christmas dressed as Santa Claus. I was disappointed, first off, because I was hoping this was going to be like real Santa. I was thinking they were going to bring that into the Rambo mythos. But when it was just Chris Kaufman, I'm like, okay. But again, this is where I wish they'd gone more over the top because it was just so grounded, this show.
I think it would have been funny if like they revealed later that when he was a scientist, he was Chris Kringle. Then he changed his
Yeah.
last name to Kaufman to go into hiding.
Like if the rocket scientist thing was just his cover up the whole time.
Yeah. I do want to say, because we mentioned that this was a Patreon pick, thank you so much to everybody that submitted an idea for this one. We had a lot of really good ones. This one, we ended up picking this one because it was the most over the top sounding one. So that's why we chose this one, because we felt it really fit with the aesthetic of how this show was going. So we're like, yeah, this sounds the most ridiculous. We're going to go with this one.
Right. So it starts in an orphanage, and there's this kid, Brian, who's angry at everything. He's like, it's Christmas time, we're not gonna get any presents, no one cares about us, we're orphans, et cetera, et
God,
cetera.
he's
And he runs away.
Brat. He's such
Totally.
a brat. I hope he gets more than coal for Christmas. Like I hope Santa takes a big sick dump in his stocking. Like a sick one. Because he's a jerk. He's like knocking stuff out of his fellow orphans' hands when they're trying to decorate the tree. Just such a little jerk.
What was funny was when he fell in that, after he runs away from the orphanage, when he falls into that pit, that sound effect that he makes, just, woo! Just, that made me, that was the funniest part of the whole show to me. For some reason, that scream, just how forced it was, made me laugh.
Yeah, he wanders out into the wilderness, falls down a little ridge into the snow. But good thing Rambo patrols this part of Colorado for just such an occasion.
Yeah. And luckily, this kid knows how to send SOS in Morse code with a flashlight somehow.
Yeah, Gen Z. Do you know how to do that? Do you know how to send SOS with a flashlight? Because I sure don't. Let's see if you know how to do it better than me. I would just keep yelling a woo until somebody came and picked me up.
Someone will hear it.
So, so they pick up Brian, bring him back to the orphanage. We meet Chris Kaufman. We learn a little bit more about him, about how this Santa used to make bombs. And I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
Dang, Santa.
He used to deliver different presents.
Yeah, I did. Jeez. And he hated it. And he met Rambo back in the day when he used to make weapons like bombs, missiles, things like that. And Rambo helped to get him out. But now Savage wants to kidnap him, employ him for, their own means, which, they just want more weapons and stuff. And they're like, nothing says a weapon like one made by Santa. So while Rambo's there, they're just like, we'll do that. So they show up, start attacking at the orphanage place, because that's a Christmas story in and of itself. And then basically, though, because Rambo's there, he's causing problems. So one of them grabs Brian, throws him on a snowmobile, and starts speeding away. So Rambo chases after him. But while that's happening, they are able to kidnap Kaufman. But I gotta say, I love the idea that while they're having the snowmobile chase, so it's Havoc that grabs Brian and is going through the wilderness with Brian as his hostage. and he's just kind of slapping at the trees as he goes, so little branches are falling in Rambo's way on the snowmobiles, and that's like the big threat is like Rambo trying not to run into these little twigs on the ground. Oh man.
Small correction though, it wasn't the orphanage that they were attacking, it was Santa's
It was
village.
the workshop.
His workshop, yeah.
Which is right next to the orphanage.
It's near. Havoc just like gets pulled off or pushed off of this snowmobile while Rambo's in pursuit. Rambo pushes him off, and then Brian's having to ride it alone. We hear this multiple times in this episode where he's just like, "Rambo, help! I'm scared!" And so it's Brian trying not to crash. I guess, or maybe doesn't know how to push the brake on the snow. I don't even know how to push brakes on a snowmobile. I assume it's probably a handlebar thing, but he's just going like top speed. Rambo's after him. Rambo saves him, but then they end up like wrecking the snowmobile, so they have to walk back to Santa's village where they, like you said, then find that Chris has been kidnapped. And then the mission becomes, okay, now we need to ride off on this sleigh with these reindeer to go save Chris.
Oh, man. And of course, even though Rambo's like, "Now stay here," Brian immediately hides in the back of the sleigh.
In the back.
Because that's what's going to happen. It's a kid.
If you've ever wanted to see Santa's sleigh led by reindeer being shot at by a missile, this is the show you want to see.
This is the show. I got to say, when I found out there was a cartoon version of Rambo, that set my expectations and my hopes and dreams just afire. Like, so many happy things just happened in my brain of like, this is gonna be so ridiculous, but I never ever pictured I would see Rambo driving Santa's sleigh. Like that didn't occur to me that could be a reality that I would be living, but that's the reality I find myself in. And I feel like a better person.
I just wish again that it had been actual Santa and not this other dude. I think it would have been a little bit more charming had it been like, it's real Santa doing this, and he and Rambo are friends. I think that would have just been super funny.
Yeah. Well, real Santa was killed in the war,
I guess so. I don't know. See, I don't know what message they're trying to deliver here. Maybe like,
I think you're trying to find a message, which I think is the problem.
I wonder if like the age group this was intended for has aged out of believing in Santa or something, and so they're playing it like that. But I don't know. I don't know what the idea was. But anyway, like the story was it was fine. It was fine. So this is where Rambo like grappling. Well, he ties a rope to his knife, throws it around the edge of this plane that's shooting at them, that shot the missile at them, and climbs aboard that. And that's where he and Gripper, well, that's when he's on the wing of the plane. Gripper like gets out of his seat to go and fight Rambo, but then he slips and just like ends up having to grab the side of the wing. Rambo's like, "Here, give me your hand." And Gripper just like falls down. Like, I guess his claw grip isn't hard enough to grip onto this plane. But when he was like, "Give me a hand," or "Give me your hand" to Gripper, I just imagine Gripper falling off and be like, "That's a cruel joke, Rambo," as he falls down.
I started thinking of that like scene from Scary Movie, like, "Take my strong hand." And he's he's like showing his little clampy clamp.
Right.
Oh man,
it would have been great if he could have changed it out for things like, how they have those little grip claw things, and some of them are like T-Rex heads and stuff. I think that would have been awesome.
Little T-Rex, that would be great.
Yeah,
I was kind of expecting, just because the way the show is going, that he would have different things like a little saw blade on it or something at some point.
Yeah, like attachments, right?
Yeah, I thought we would get that, but I mean, then he would be attachy instead of Gripper or something, or attacher.
Yeah,
it wouldn't.
He
fit
wouldn't be
anymore.
so Gripper.
Yeah, they end up finding this. I don't know, what is it, like a logging camp?
I guess, yeah.
Where Kaufman's being held, and honestly, Kaufman almost gets killed, and it's Rambo's fault, to be honest.
Yeah, Kaufman, he's being held at saw point right now.
Yeah, I mean, the saw's not running. He's just on a conveyor belt, and there is a saw there, one that cuts logs. And when Rambo gets in there and starts, like, threatening everybody, and he gets in a little scuffle, it's like Rambo, like, I think he falls onto some controls, and that actually starts the thing, which almost kills the guy.
Yeah. So Rambo's the reason he almost gets killed. So really, like, the villains, the General and Havoc, are the ones that save Chris from the saw.
Yeah.
Because then Rambo gets stuck on it, and that's where the logs fall on him that are much lighter, I'm sure, than the crate of steel bars he was carrying. Yeah. And that holds him down.
Wasn't Warhawk the one that actually pulls Kaufman off?
Yeah, that's what I said. General Warhawk and Havoc are the ones that save him. Yeah. So Rambo almost gets his friend killed, almost kills Santa.
Perfect.
And the villains save him. So then he like hits the controls, or no, he cuts the power to the saw by throwing his knife at it, like he does with most things.
Yeah. He should be in the circus. He should be a knife thrower in the circus, because that's most of the show, is him throwing knives at inanimate objects, which get him out of sticky situations.
He's better at that than he is anything else in the show.
Yeah. The bad guys have gotten in a truck. They're driving away. He pulls a hubcap off of a truck and, like, snow surfs to catch up with them. And he catches up. They peace out and leave Kaufman behind. And then he dresses up as Santa Claus along with Kaufman, and they deliver presents to orphans, like a true Christmas.
Yep. And I guess Brian, the little bratty orphan, gets a redeeming scene where he wants to be the one delivering presents, and they're just like, no, but this Christmas is for you. And he's like, well, Christmas is contagious, I guess. And they all start laughing, and that's what closes out the episode. Ha 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 ha. That's it.
I'm scared.
Rambo, I'm scared.
There we go.
Well, Chris, it looks like it's about time we send our inner kids to Colorado, I guess, to hang with Rambo and his crew and find out if they've got what it takes to become part of the team. Spoiler alert, they don't. Then see what they thought of the show. Rambo, the Force of Freedom.
This cartoon is like somebody animated everything I do in my sandbox with all my action figures, except no one's yelling at me for using the gasoline and matches for the big warehouse fire explosions. They're necessary to the story, Mom!
This cartoon was somehow both too toned down to be cool and too serious to be fun. So, who was it even made for? Seems like it really missed its mark. Sorry to be so savage.
Oh no. I see what you did.
Yeah.
Oh man. Do you think that that's when, like, do you remember, like, a couple years ago when savage became, like, a cool thing to say again? Do you think, is there any possibility that it was actually, like, an ode back to this show? Like,
I am almost 100% sure that that's not the case.
Are you
At least
positive?
I hope anyway. Okay, 99% sure. I'll give it a 1% chance of error, but that's it. That's as low as I'll go.
well, from now on, if anybody ever starts saying, oh, that's savage, or like, oh, she's so savage again, just think about the Rambo animated cartoon anytime. If you hear a friend say, oh man, that was savage, immediately Google this show and be like, I need to talk to you. Like, have a real serious conversation.
I'll just be like, wait, are you talking about the specialist administrators of vengeance, anarchy, and global extortion? That kind of savage? If not, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were some of the things that you did like about this show?
So I think the animation ended up being decent enough for its time. Like, there were some, like, errors, as with any, like, 80s animation, but overall it was decent. And some of the action scenes were shot really nicely, even though they moved at weird paces sometimes. And also a one-man army who they call on to do jobs that no one else can. I think conceptually that's a cool idea, but them trying to wrap it around rated R Rambo, guy suffering from PTSD, hell-bent on vengeance, like, that's where it really, like, they had to stretch it so thin that it kind of lost meaning completely.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I think that there is some fun to this show. In the action for sure. Like it is action packed. There's no denying that. There's hardly any downtime to this show at all. It's not always the greatest thing when you're trying to tell a story, but it could get kind of fun in this instance because of just how over the top everything gets. But you're right in that the idea that this was supposed to be a children's take on a property about like a bloodthirsty broken man because of like the atrocities that he has seen and participated in. I don't think that part works so well. Like it doesn't. If they had just, reskinned this as an original idea, I think that would be a different story. Like this could be something out of G.I. Joe easily.
Sure.
If this could have been a G.I. Joe crossover thing really easy, like that would have been really interesting. But it's hard trying to look at this, and I think that that's something that I struggle with right now is trying to look at this alone and not think about why it was made and where it came from, but trying to look at it by its own merits is really hard to do in this instance.
Yeah, when you attach a name to it, you kind of always have to harken back to that and be like, what was its origin? And it's so hard to separate it for me. But I also think as a dislike, it was pretty boring to me. Like I told you that I had to take a nap between episodes because I got so bored of it. Because I was coming in expecting a more fun cartoon, like semi-fun at least, like go a little over the top for me. And I was just pretty let down by the fact that it didn't. And admittedly, my lack of interest in military stuff in general doesn't help, but I was hoping they'd at least go a little more over the top by adding like mutated creatures or cyborgs or ninjas or things like that. But it was just surprisingly tame. I'm not saying they had to have like Run DMC Odd Job with a gold chain in it, but it also might not have hurt to have something like that in there just to make it stand out a little bit.
Yeah, I think I expected something a little bit more along the lines of like Centurions or something like that. And
yeah.
And also maybe a little more, or at least any at all, like a little bit of tongue in cheek with everything, like some humor and stuff added to it. There's no humor in this pretty much at all, except for ironic humor and laughing at stuff that wasn't supposed to be funny.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's rough. One thing that, before I really get into my dislikes, something that I disliked, then liked again, was the constantly reused muscle pumped tying of his boots. Because it was a scene that they use in the intro. They put it in the middle of the cartoon anytime he like really starts to get in a battle. So it's just a scene we saw so many times. It made me laugh so hard the first time because of how ridiculous it was, like how zoomed in they're just focusing on this dude's massive biceps getting big, and then when it zooms out he's just tying his shoes. Like that had me laughing so hard, but it happened so many times I started getting tired of it. But then it kept happening so many times that I came back around to loving it again, like ironically, but still loving it because it was so stupid. But yeah, that became like I had a love-hate thing going on with that constantly reused clip in this show. I think one of my major dislikes is the complete like disregard of the side characters that were introduced. Especially Turbo and Cat felt like complete add-ons. Like they were hardly used at any point in time, at least in what we saw. Like it felt like they were characters that were shoehorned in to fill a quota or look good on paper for diversity's sake or something like that without giving them anything to really do, which is a shame because they both have the potential to do cool things because they have interesting skill sets. Like they show us the potential that they have with Turbo being so good as a mechanic and he can pilot things, he can race. Like there's so many other times in the show that Rambo is driving or piloting something and terrible at it because he's constantly crashing stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Why did they not use this opportunity for Turbo to like get in and save his bacon and utilize that and do something much cooler and with more stuff that Turbo built? Like that would have been great. And Cat, we got nothing. The only other scene we really got Cat in is like, I mean, her whole thing was supposed to be like espionage and disguising and stuff, which we only got in her introduction. The only other thing that she ever did was she just walked up to two guards and in the underground train tunnel and just was, doing this cheeky little, oh, I've been wandering around for like an hour. And was literally it, while Rambo and Turbo snuck up behind them and took them out. There was no disguise involved, no trickery. It was just her presence that distracted them. She didn't get to use her skills at all. And that was such a bummer.
They're just like, it's a woman.
Yeah.
I completely agree. Yes, multiple times, like the helicopter that Rambo almost crashed twice and then did end up crashing. That could have been Turbo driving that, and it would have been flawless. And then there are multiple times where Kat could have gone in and really helped the situation along, but instead they really emphasized that one-man army part, even though they added these teammates and called it the Freedom or the Force of Freedom, which is the team name, but that team means nothing. And the Colonel's only job in that is to be like, get me Rambo, get Rambo, send Rambo.
That is exactly where I was going to go next, was Colonel Troutman. It like could be an interesting dynamic too. Like, how does he fit in with everything? Like, he's calling these shots, but why? And like, what is his relationship to Rambo and this whole thing? Like, it feels like something that could have been explored, or like, how do they know each other? Are they old war buddies? It's something that could be explored, or something. He could have more influence in the show, but really all he does is show up once or twice, and it's just to be like, get me Rambo. Or like, there's literally one scene in the first episode where it cuts back to, that president or whatever. That's just like, it's so weird because it's like the bad guy's doing something. It cuts back to the president talking to the colonel for just like 5 seconds. And the president's just like, we're a small country. We don't have tanks. I don't know how we're going to stop it. And he just goes, Rambo. And that's it. It cuts away to another scene again. I'm like, that was it? That was your whole deal? That's the only reason you were in the show, was to go, Rambo. That's pointless.
There's no butter on my toast. Get me Rambo.
Get me Rambo. Like, I need someone to dunk my my son in the pool. Rambo.
Yeah. My Oreo hasn't been dunked in the milk. Bring Rambo.
That happens. So there's a lot of flaws there. It had a very interesting basis, but like so many 80s shows, like there is a core to it that is really interesting, and they just fumble it, to steal a sports ball term. It gets fumbled.
The execution is just poor.
They're off sides.
Yeah, they had a safety, whatever, other terms. False start by the offense. So what would you give this show overall?
This is hard. I keep changing my answer in my head the more I talk about it. It's a very one-dimensional show. It's kind of a mess. It's a fun mess at times, in the same way like I love watching Freak Out and Karen videos on TikTok. Like it's just a big old mess. It's not there to teach you anything, which is different than a lot of cartoons for kids. You're not going to learn a lesson in this show. You're not going to grow as a person by watching it. It is just a crazy steroid-fueled entertainment animation, which can be fine when the mood strikes. But just considering like the writing, the pacing, the animation, and the overwhelming feeling I got a few times from my ADHD brain with everything that was happening in this thing that made little to no sense to me. I'm gonna give this cartoon 2 bowls of Tierra Libre cereal out of 5.
Yeah, while the general idea of this show wasn't a bad one and the animation was good enough, where it really faltered was keeping me engaged in the plot and really taking advantage of the animation medium as a whole. They really let me down there. So overall, I'd give Rambo: The Force of Freedom 2 big bowls of Give Gripper a Hand cereal out of 5. And and don't really see much reason to check this one out unless you're just super nostalgic about it in case you did watch it as a kid, or you just want to see Rambo nearly get taken out by a bridge. Whichever.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said for the curiosity factor of this one, just because the idea of it is ridiculous. They made a cartoon about Rambo. So like if that's something that like gets you interested, that it even exists, then go check out an episode. But please don't, like, I wouldn't recommend watching more than one, because like one episode is going to give you all you need to, get a feel and understand what's happening.
The first episode will be the one you need to watch. If you only watch one, watch the first one, because you've got the scene of the guy coming out of the mud, Rambo pushing him over and running away. And that's something that's going to live in my head rent-free forever. And I will think about that and always laugh because it was such a weird, unnecessary scene.
It was just like a little kid, like messing with a friend. Is what it felt like. It was great.
They're just play fighting.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just horseplay.
Horseplay, yeah.
That's all it is.
So thank you, Mark, for suggesting this. Even though we didn't particularly like the show, we had a good time talking about it and watching it to some degree. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I really do appreciate it, honestly. And yeah, as Joseph said, there's plenty of times that we don't like a show, but we have a really, really good time having conversations about the ones that we don't like. So regardless of whether we like your pick or not, we always appreciate having the opportunity to talk about it together and to goof on it and everything. So thank you so much for suggesting this one.
Well, listeners, looks like our milk supply is now run dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. And next week, we'll be watching
Camp Lake Bottom, suggested via YouTube by Mike Root.
Camp Lake Bottom?
Yep, and this is coming from the bottom of the list.
The lake bottom of the list. Got it.
Yeah, which surprises me because I think this is a fairly popular show. So I'm surprised that this made it to the bottom of the list. But then again, Rambo made it to the top of the list, so I'm very confused as to what's happened to our list.
Yeah, there's some kind of bizarro land we're living in. Wait, so Camp Lake Bottom, is this like a newer show, newish show? I've never heard of that.
No, not really. It's been around for, like 10 years or so, I think. Yeah.
Jeez. Maybe
Something
I would
like that.
recognize I'm looking at images and I still don't even recognize it. Weird. Well, this will be new to me completely.
Yeah, I've never seen it before. I've just heard some really I've heard good things about it, is all I know. So I'm interested in it. It's Teletoon, I believe, and they've had some pretty interesting things before. So yeah, I'm excited to see what it's all about.
Well, I know it's going to be better than Rambo, so at least there's that.
Exactly.
Rambo. Once again, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
We'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by Nerdsloth.
A place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.